Welcome back, guys. Another great week. Uh, wow, this is a horrible start. Welcome back, guys. Another episode of Tall and Taller. We are live, and we're going to be talking about a few things today. Not really Michigan football related, more just on the grand scheme of things. Michigan basketball, transfer portal drama, um, and get into some bowl pick'ems. We'll start off though. I originally had this typed out as Juwan over. But it sounds like Juwan Howard is actually going to remain the coach of the University of Michigan. After an incident that happened at practice earlier this week?
Yep. Well, last week now, I
Last
guess.
week, yeah. Okay, so last week, it sounds like him and John Sanderson had gotten into it over something with Jace Howard. Not sure what it was, but it sounds like there was a very physical altercation between the two. What have you read on it, Ben?
So what I read was that Jason's been out with an ankle injury, right? And Sanderson was telling him he's good to go, needs to suck it up, and Jace got in his face, and Howard seen it and come to the defense of his son, which is understandable. And then Sanderson said, "This is why the program morale is where it's at because of shit like this. That set Howard off even further." And everyone is saying that there was no physical. It wasn't physical at all, and normally I wouldn't believe that, but I think I do because of Howard being on a zero tolerance thing for so long. From the was it
the
Maryland
Wisconsin.
and Wisconsin?
Yeah, it was the Wisconsin, wasn't it? It was the Wisconsin dude he slapped, right? The Maryland kid.
Yeah, he slapped the Wisconsin coach, but he got in the Maryland coach's face, put his finger in his face or something. I don't remember. So there's been a lot of it, and I think there's a fine line with that. I like the fire. I like him standing up for people, but in today's age too, you got to kind of watch it. Another bad look for him. Another bad look for Michigan athletics. We can't seem to stay out of the media in a negative way, and I really don't think it's that big a deal. I think these type of altercations happen all the time at universities across the United States, and they're just kind of swept under the rug. What kind of makes it different is Sanderson is a well-respected guy, was a key success in Beeline's thing, but is that he filed an HR complaint.
That's a boo-boo, baby boo-hoo, in my opinion. But
and it probably is, but as we were talking off camera before the show started, there seems to be a big problem with nepotism under Howard, and maybe there was a tipping point for him, and that was it, and he's had enough's enough. Because he is seeing things day in and day out, as all coaches do, that nobody else sees, not even the reporters and stuff are connected close to the program. And maybe he felt that was the last thing, and he needed to take a stand and make a point. Regardless, not a good look. But I think it was 2 days ago when President Ono come out and said, "Hey, due process is a right, and we're going to give Juwan that due process." I knew right then that was probably going to turn out in Juwan's favor. But the state of Michigan basketball is not very good, very unstable, and I think that it's just another sign pointing to why we've had the problems that we've had in the last 2 seasons with basketball.
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we've had how many good players on our team? How many good classes that came out of Juwan Howard being just at Michigan? I mean, we've had some of the best classes we've ever had as a university under Juwan Howard. And it started out really promising, but I mean, it's not heading in a promising direction. I mean, we came out this year on fire, and I mean, it's still early in the season, so who knows what's going to happen? But you can't. We're 5-5 and 1-1, 10 games into the season. You can't. You got to take losing to Long Beach State, horrible loss. I mean, actually, I don't. No, actually, no. I don't think that loss is as bad as what it looks, especially now because Long Beach State had actually beat USC the other night. Also,
Yep.
I mean, that's two big wins for them, and I think also, as we all know, the frame of college basketball with the NIL has changed also, just like the football side. But I think on the basketball side, it's changed it more than what it has on the football side because you've seen the teams ever since the NIL. What we've seen two. No, I guess UMBC wasn't during the NIL, but I mean, you're seeing more smaller teams compete with the bigger teams on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, look at Hunter Dickinson. He left purely because of NIL and the money. Michigan has so far refused to kind of do the pay for play thing. That a lot of other schools are doing, and I think it was time for Hunter to go. But the flip side is that I don't think he ever fit in with the style of play that Juwan wanted to play.
No,
The flip side is you can't lose a 5-star guy like that. He's having it's been a couple weeks, I guess, since I checked up on him, but last I knew he was having a pretty good season with Kansas.
he's having a good season. At least, like you said, I haven't really followed Kansas. I mean, at first I was kind of because they were on back and forth, but I mean, I think he also left because he knew that there was. I think he knew where the program was at that point,
Right.
and I think all going. This is all coming back to Juwan Howard and like where the state of it is. Um, and he knew that this program probably he's not going to be able to win a national championship. In my opinion, he's probably not. I don't think he's going to be a good. We talked about this. I don't think Hunter Dixon's going to be a good NBA player. And I'm thinking that he probably left also to go chase a ring. Hey, I'm going to get a shot in the NBA, but unless I can turn around, a lot of NBA bigs got to be able to shoot from. I mean, consistently shoot from deep, and shoot consistently. I mean with that, but on the top.
And I think his shooting is would get there, but I just don't think he's athletic enough to in today's NBA. He would be a great 80s, 90s, early 2000s player, I think, but today's game, I just don't think the athleticism is there. I hope he proves me wrong. I always liked him. He kind of left a little awkward, but he didn't burn the house down like Cade and Eric.
Yeah, I mean, we like I said with this situation with Juwan Howard that happened Saturday, and that situation, we don't know what happened behind closed doors and what actually happened. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it just shows how bad the program is down right now. I mean, I think we all know Juwan's on the hot seat this year. I think, even though I know me and you talked and you said that possibly with him having the heart surgery to start the season, that may or may not buy him another year. But I think I think as a fan and as somebody, if I was in the position of like Ward Manuel or someone in that athletic office, if Juwan doesn't make a tournament run again, like Juwan does not make a tournament this year, make the tournament, not a tournament, the tournament. I think it's probably time to be like, hey, dude. Because right now, all Juwan Howard has done is the Brady Hoke effect. That's the best way to explain. Came in, had a great team with Beeline's players, won a Big Ten championship in the first 2 years, and then has now just slowly went downhill. It's trending in the wrong direction.
Regressed every year, right? I mean,
yeah,
basically, without looking at the numbers in my mind, every year we've gotten a little bit worse. And there was there were super low expectations this year, and we started out a little bit hot. Now we've kind of leveled off to, I think, where everybody kind of thought we would be. But um, I would be surprised if he's back next year. Jace will be gone, and the whole hindsight thing. I think the opportunity to coach his kids is probably a big reason he's here. But the flip side of that is he was a young, shining, bright star in NBA coaching circles, and this experience may have altered that opinion of him. So he might not be a surefire candidate.
What the fuck happened? Anyways, hang on, I'll get him back. Um, I don't know what happened, guys. Sorry. Um, anyways, well, I'm gonna get him back while we talk about it. We'll continue to talk about Michigan basketball a little bit. Oregon Ducks. We lost to Oregon. This is just for this month. Indiana plays. We lost to Indiana by 3. Lost to Oregon by 3 in overtime on a buzzer beater. Then we come back and beat Iowa. I mean, Iowa's a good team. And then today we had the Eastern Michigan Eagles. But I mean, so there's still some room for improvement for this Michigan team. Michigan is a decent team that can compete. They have offense. They do not have defense. Um, so what in the heck is going on? There we go. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I was on a different screen and sorry guys. I've been I was on a different screen and you just popped out, but we are still live, so you can go right back into it.
Okay, so I don't know where I got cut off at, but you know, I think that he come here for nostalgic reasons, right? Opportunity to be a head coach, but most importantly to have the opportunity to coach his kids in college. And he was a bright shining star in NBA coaching circles before he come here, and I don't know how much this has damaged his reputation in NBA coaching circles, but um, that'll be interesting to see. A lot of connections in the NBA, and played a long time with the Heat, so I think he could probably go back there with Coach Spo. But I don't expect him to be back this year. I would be more surprised if he was than if he wasn't. I also don't think that Ward has the backbone to fire him or ask him to leave because would potentially be a lot of backlash because of the Fab Five connections and things of that nature. But we
We all
tried
know
it
that's already a rocky road, anyways.
right, and they're just kind of starting to mend all those, and that might upset Weber and Jalen and whoever. But I think if they look objectively at the program, I wouldn't call his time here a failure, but I don't think it's been a rounding success either.
No, I mean, especially not with what he's done compared to the talent that we've had. That's where the biggest part for me is we've had again probably some of the best talent that we've had ranking wise, like recruiting wise, I should say. Doesn't mean it translates to the court, and I don't know if that could be a development problem within the University of Michigan basketball program, or if it's just the players just aren't there and just don't want to do it. I guess I don't know because this year, I mean, we're scoring a lot of points this year. That's not the issue. It's the fact we're giving up. We're scoring 90, but they're scoring 100.
So defense has been a problem for at least the last 2 seasons, right?
Really been every time.
That's been my biggest bitch. What's that?
Because under Beeline, he was under Beeline. Our defense was that's what made us who we were.
Right.
One thing that irks the shit out of me about this team is that you would see every game at least a minimum of Michigan taking 2 to 3 charges a game. under Beeline because that's what defense is about. You gotta step in. I watch guys step out of the way now, and I'm like, dude, you're in the perfect spot to take a charge. Take a charge. Get the ball back.
Well,
That's
Beeline. There are a couple things about Beeline is he did a lot more with a lot less, right? And that was kind of his calling card. You know, that's how he worked his way up from Division 3 to being a coach of the NBA, which was a failure. And I think that's just because it's NBA guys. You know that they don't listen to you like you know guys in college and below do. But um,
especially in
Beeline
96
was
where the Cavs were.
Beeline was number one a fundamentalist. You know, he stressed that tremendously, and I forget all the things, but when he first come on, you know, there was a thing in the Detroit News, and it had like a preseason test of say 6 minute mile, and they had to do so many things to even be able to start practice,
Mm-hmm.
and um, that just shown who he was. And I Juwan is more of an NBA type coach, um, and he's that just shows him what he's coaching. You know, he's not coaching guys to. Um, I don't feel like get better overall. That that's why he the development thing. You know,
Yeah,
the development thing
he's
is it's just not there. That's been his Achilles heel, I think, and um, obviously it's not a priority for him, and you're not going to change a tiger's stripes.
no, and I think like we talked about this. I'm pretty sure when he was hired, just me and you, and because I know the podcast wasn't going on then, but me and you talked about it when he was hired. I think multiple times since then is Michigan was his first coaching job, other than like a head coaching job.
Correct.
He was an assistant in the NBA after he quit playing up for under Spoelstra for all them years after he quit playing. But not having really, not having any head coaching experience, period. And I mean, yeah, you have a good. He was like you said, a highly rated assistant coach in the NBA. But as you just said, the NBA coaches really, in my, especially in my opinion too, is don't really have any effect on what actually happens in the games. I just don't. Not anymore, at least.
No.
I mean, when you got people like LeBron James who are telling their coach to sit down and shut the up, I mean that's just how it is. I mean that's NBA today. But so that's another thing is where I was going was he's never had the experience. Why? I mean, Michigan maybe should never have brought him in this early. Let him go get a head coaching job at a smaller college. I mean, I get. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have. Like he could turn this around. Hell yeah, cool. Like you know what I'm trying to say though.
Yeah, and
Like
I think he
he didn't
has the
have the
ability.
experience. He didn't have the experience for this job. That's really what.
Yeah, I think he has the ability to turn it around. I don't think he has the interest. I think he's happy to be here, coach his kids, spend some time in Ann Arbor. One of the things that I always notice is social media. His wife is forever posting pictures of them in Miami together. So I wonder if he doesn't even spend the time necessary around here to get things done. If he's just here as much as he can, and maybe it's just as simple as she doesn't like to be here, and that's why he's trying to keep Mama happy, and that's fine too. But I just my gut just tells me he was here to coach his kids and get a little experience under his belt, and um, that Phil, he hired Phil Martelli, which was a great move, I think, to be kind of his associate head coach, lead assistant. Martelli was a head coach forever. Um,
St. Joe's.
And
seasons.
I think I think he's kind of been, even before this year, he's kind of been the de facto head coach. But he's still taking orders. He's not able to run it the way he wants to. He's running it the way that Juwan wants to. Um,
And
and
that's and that's
I'm
go
kind
ahead,
of
sorry.
surprised he's still here, to be honest with you.
What I was gonna say was, I mean, that's in my opinion, if Jawan's gone, he needs to stay. I think we need to give him a contract as the head coach because, I mean, really, I don't know who else out there would be a better choice. I mean, yeah, you have Saudi Washington. Um, I mean, you have a lot of our bench people who've been here for a while. But other than, I mean, bringing John Beeline back, which I don't think that's going to happen. I think Phil
No,
Martelli.
that's not happening.
I think Phil Martelli is probably your best bet to keep it in the program to turn around. It seems like Phil Martelli enjoys being here. To the point, you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
he always talks good about the program, never has anything bad to say. But I mean, I think if Jawan goes, he's the person that, at least as of right now, I think should be there.
and I don't know if he has any interest in that. Basically, he was semi-retired, right? He was doing some TV, and last I knew, he he still, his family hadn't moved to Ann Arbor. Where was he? New York, I
He
think.
was he was at St. Joe's,
Right,
St. Joseph. I don't know exactly where.
but I remember reading several times over the years that he goes home when he can to spend some time with his family and just has a little apartment here to live in. So that to me isn't, and maybe being a head coach changes that. Who knows? But that to me doesn't signal that, hey, this is where I want to be, type of deal. Um, but there's a big difference, especially salary wise, between a assistant coach and Michigan pays their assistant coaches pretty well. But there's a big difference between associate head coach and head coach salary, and maybe that's a game changer for him. Um, I think if he wants it, he at the very least deserves an opportunity to
To take it.
take it, and
Yeah.
see what he can do. But I'm not sure that he wants it either. We'll see.
hmm Yeah. So just real quick, I guess I meant to read this earlier. I just forgot. But the statement from Ward Manuel this morning. Juwan Howard will return to the Michigan bench Saturday against Eastern Michigan in total capacity as the head coach. Coach Howard, his doctors, and our medical experts remain aligned in taking the next step as he recovers from a September heart procedure. We greatly appreciate Associate Head Coach Phil Martelli's guidance of our program on an interim basis to start the season. I want to personally thank Phil for what he has done in the past few months to lead the program. We will continue to benefit his wisdom moving forward. The return of our usual coaching structure comes after review of the incident involving several individuals during a team practice last week. Based on thorough internal review, nothing was found to warrant disciplinary action for anyone involved. Uh, as such, we will move forward with focus on our team and our season. So, I mean, like we said, to open it after investigation, Ward and everybody, I don't know if it was an agreement, maybe between Sanderson and everybody involved, like, hey, it was just us button heads or whatever.
Yeah, and I think
But
it was probably a little more than that, but that happens every day. But I find it hard to believe that since he's been on that zero tolerance, that if it would have been a physical altercation, that he's still with the team, unless Sanderson made the physically, but then that would make sense that Sanderson filed the HR report. So we'll probably never know, but it's a mess that we don't need. Um, and you know, I'm fine with our basketball team being mediocre as long as our football team has had the
well, yeah,
success that it's had. But um, I would like to see us at least have a chance, and I I don't feel like I've felt that way in a couple years now.
No, I mean even 2 years ago when we won the Sweet 16, when we went to the Sweet 16 on that late run, I mean where we barely made it in the tournament and then we made the run to the Sweet 16. That even then, I mean that season, we were on the edge of even making the tournament.
Right.
I think we were one of the last four in and had to fight our way to the Sweet 16. I mean it happened, but still wasn't the season that I think what we kind of grew accustomed to under John Beeline, where we were winning 25, 30 games a month, 25 games, at least 25 games a year, usually
Right.
consistent.
And you know, that was, I guess, in the simplest terms, Beeline always under promised and over delivered. He
Mm-hmm.
did more with less, right? And Juwan has done less with more.
Of course.
And there's just a point where, hey, what are we doing? You know, is this working?
Yeah,
Um,
you got to nut up or shut up,
right.
pretty
So,
much.
and
Prove,
that's where
prove.
we're at.
Yeah, I agree. Um, but like I said, we'll see how it goes. Michigan plays today against Eastern Michigan um, at home, so we'll see how that game goes. See if they can get above 500 now, not just at 500. Because after today, um, they got Florida on the 19th at the Jumpman Classic, and I mean that game's not going to be easy. Um, I mean they have. I'm trying to wrap it up, but they have played a few good teams and played them close. I mean they played at Oregon on the road, lost on a buzzer beater in overtime. I mean the talent's there. It's just you got they're going to have to play defense to win the game and to be able to play basketball. I mean to be able to consistently play, you're going to have to play defense. You can score like you do, but you got to play defense. Um,
Right.
Defense wins championships. Offense sells tickets. But yeah, we'll see how Michigan basketball does the rest of the season. We'll cover it probably again, probably after bowl season and Michigan football season's over. We'll get back into Michigan basketball a little bit more thoroughly. But now onto the transfer portal drama. It's everywhere. We'll say the it's a transfer portal drama and the NIL drama. I mean, it's a combination of both. I mean, you got
Yeah,
players.
I think they go hand in hand. You know, we wouldn't have one without the other, or at
Yeah.
least not as bad.
Yep. I mean, you got the players even before the season was, I think it was like week 11, and Cam Ward out of Washington was getting offered millions of dollars from while he's still actively on a team.
Right.
I don't understand how that's legal.
It's not, but the NCAA is
Uh,
not doing anything. They're worried about people filming on the sideline with cell
and
phones.
I'm adding something to this show, by the way. Well, maybe that'll be a quick entry, but um, I don't. Between, I mean, it's just insane to me that they allow that to happen because at that point, that kid's not focusing on his team.
Right.
Kid wasn't in the portal. The portal hadn't even opened.
Right.
The portal didn't open until like a week ago. I mean, you got a lot of good players coming out this year, and I mean, especially on the quarterback side, I don't. There's a bunch of quarterbacks leaving schools.
Right. And
And I,
it's a free agent market, is what it is. Where can I get paid the most? It's not. Hey, I don't have an opportunity to play here. I need to go somewhere else, which is what it was kind of intended to be, right? But um, you know, when you go back, and there's many more, but this is the examples, but this is fresh in my head to the Hunter Dickinson thing. You know, he openly talked about he needed to make more money. You know, there was more money opportunities out there. Uh, you know, he talked about Kentucky, he talked about Kansas, um, but then you know what really sealed it for me was a couple of weeks ago when Matt Rule come out and says, you know, it's taking 1.52 million to
yeah,
get a quarterback in the portal right now, and I thought, holy shit, why would he say that? And then like a week ago, he fucking doubled down on it, and he's proven to be right. So I think that's just you know, this is the worst case scenario that everybody talked about when all this broke out, and
we
it's
talked about it from day one on the show.
Yeah, and it's come true, and it's it's gonna not that I don't think college sports have been amateur athletics for a long time, and this it's been heading this way for a long time, but this has accelerated the death of college sports.
Oh yeah.
I think that by the time you're my age, it's not going to be um, what you knew growing up. It's going to be a minor league for the team. So
No, yeah, and I think I agree. Unless the NCAA or I doubt. No, I doubt the NCAA. NCAA is fucking is worthless. Sorry, I'm trying not to cuss as much on the show, so I'm sorry. Um, need the NCAA is going to need to step in and say, hey, you get one transfer, just like it used to be. You got one transfer a year, or not a year, in a career, usually, right? Unless you got a waiver.
yep,
They need to step in and knock that down. They need to step in and knock down the NIL and say, hey, we need to do something about this because it's out of control. We talked about it and we got into it last week, and that's why I want to throw NIL on this because it's out of control. It's
it
not
is.
being used for what it was supposed to be used for. It's not being used to give kids money just to be able to have enough. Like give each kid $20,000 a year, and that's plenty of money for them to survive because they're getting their school paid for. That gives them food. Honestly, majority of the players and stuff are getting their food already paid for by the
Training
universities,
table. Yep.
and it's good food. They're getting medical. They're getting everything already before they were even getting paid NIL.
Yeah. 20
But
grand a year, 20 grand a year is $400 a week, basically in pocket money. And that's more than enough for your gas and, um, running around
shit,
cash.
even yeah, even give them 30, 40, up to $50,000. No player in the college world should be making $1 million fucking dollars. God,
Right.
now I'm on a heater. Um, I just it makes zero sense to me. And the NCAA's got to step in and do something about it, or else,
Right.
like you
And,
said,
there's a lot of rumors out there floating that Marvin Harrison's getting 20 to 25 million just to come back for 1 year.
yeah, which
25
is
million
the
dollars.
same, which is the same as he'd be making as an NFL rookie and a top 5
Right.
draft pick, like he's gonna be. Um, I mean, it's just insane to me that they're allowing that to go on and allowing these players to make that much money. Like we talked about in the first episode, when we talked about it last week too. This was allowed to be able to make money. Like, okay, hey, I think it was Arkansas or Oklahoma, like we talked about the first show and last week was, hey, here's you be my person on our billboard. You have a whole offensive line. Hey, we'll give you free steaks all year, no matter how many you want.
Yep.
You're gonna bring us money, so I'm gonna give you free food. I think it's been made for stuff like that. Not no 18 to 20, even me, my up to probably like 25-year-old kid needs to be making $1 million.
Right.
There's no there's probably very few that are using that money for the way that it should be used at that making that much money.
Right.
They're using it to party majority of the time, buy fancy sports cars and stuff like that. They're living the NFL life before going to NFL life, and that's not what college is for.
Right. And then
And
the effect of all that you got just say Marvin Harrison Jr. And by all accounts, he's a good kid, even though he's a Buckeye, hard worker, all that stuff. But you got Marvin Harrison, right? $20 million, and then you got the receiver next to him, who's not as talented as him, but is a good receiver, is putting in the same work. And the problems that could cause. Hey, this motherfucker's getting $20 million a year, and I'm doing everything that he does every day, and I ain't getting shit, or I'm getting $100,000 a year or whatever. Causes chemistry problems in the locker room. Um, so I don't know. It's just a mess. The NCAA needs to die. I really hoped that Michigan, with the sign stealing stuff, and it looked like for a moment we were going to battle out in court and perhaps leave the Big Ten. And if we did that, I thought that was going to be the the last stone in an avalanche today that caused the avalanche that would really kind of force the hand of the NCAA, either one, to make major changes, or two, fold up and die, and there'd be a super conference area where particularly the Big Ten and the SEC would um, form their own super conference. But um, here we are, NCAA is still living and breathing, and nothing's going to change. The NCAA has been old and archaic since I started following sports in the '80s, and it's done nothing but get worse. And it shouldn't be surprising that they've fucked up this transfer portal and NIL thing.
Yeah, and the only, like I said, the only way to fix it is you're gonna have to restrict things. Say, hey, a player can make 50 grand or 100 grand. No player says you're making $1 million. And on the transport side, you say, hey, you can transfer once. You can transfer once, like just on your own. And then if you need to transfer again because of an injury or something like that, um, you have to put in a waiver to be allowed to.
Yep.
It's like I said, that's in my opinion the only way it's going to get fixed. And the only way you can get back, I mean, we'll never get back to what college football was before the NIL and transfer portal, but it's honestly kind of a shame about like what it's done so far to college football and like what
It
we're
is,
seeing.
but I don't think there's any going back either.
No, not to what we're at, but I think we can lock it up. I think you could probably, if they really wanted to, you could lock it up. But I mean, it could be too far gone at this point.
Yeah, I mean it's not too late to put any structure in, but I think it's too late to return, and maybe it's not even possible to have a way to pay the players and still keep the spirit of college athletics, as we know it. But to me, that's the big thing. You got guys now, and we've talked about all this, but sitting out of bowls,
Yeah,
and
it's still gonna make money to do that in
right,
college. It's more like, listen, I mean, I know I said earlier about the 20, give them 20K a year, and they pretty much get their food and stuff already paid for. Listen, what about the players? I mean, you're looking at that. You're looking at the players. I just lost my whole train of thought. Let me think here. Oh, if myself can live off of $40,000-$50,000 a year with paying bills, all of this, paying for food, paying for groceries. These players can live off 30 grand a year, not having to pay for anything but gas,
right. Cell phone bill they
and
got,
maybe
right,
and maybe a living expense.
right.
I mean, it's out of, like I said, it's out of control, and it needs to be fixed. NCAA won't do anything though. Like you said, the NCAA is a bunch of cowards, and probably like I said, they need to be gone. The NCAA is so out of date in the college football world. Um, but I mean, hopefully they prove me wrong, and hopefully they prove us wrong. But like I said, I doubt it.
Yep.
All right, off that topic. Um, I thought about this in the middle of that topic when we first started talking about how it was illegal to how is Cam Ward getting offers before the portal even opens. I want to know, one, how is this legal? Two, is Bama scared? How can Alabama hire somebody? So Alabama hires their ex linebacker coach Greg Hilo 3 weeks, 3 weeks before the football game. He can start immediately. He coached for us from 2021 to 2022. So he coached under McDonald and Minner. The main thing is coaching under Minner.
Yeah.
How is it any different? Because I guarantee our signs are probably still the same. and he's gonna know. He's gonna know. Hey, this is what they're doing here. How is that any different than what Connor Stallions did? Because it's not written in a fucking rule.
Right. And that's basically the way I feel about. I think it's a genius move on Saban's part.
No, it is, but fuck, dude, that's like that makes zero fucking sense. Why is that legal? But what Connor Stallions did isn't. And like Connor Stallions had. Yeah, it was a level 2, but nothing more than a level 2 violation than anything. But holy hell, I read
That's
that
what
and I said,
makes
how?
that's what makes Saban the GOAT. Part of it, thinking outside the box, and I think that he's the only person that's on Harbaugh's level. That's something that Harbaugh would have done, if he had the opportunity.
Oh,
I think.
100%. But I don't. My main thing is how is it legal to hire him 3 weeks before a game? Especially a playoff game. Like how can he start immediately? He shouldn't be able to start to the like end of the season. Like, hey, you can come in after the season. How can he start in the middle of it's like
So I don't see this as an issue at all, and
I don't. I
you
really don't
obviously
either.
and
It's
you
more.
obviously do. But okay, so Michigan, hang on. So Michigan shouldn't be able to replace Coach Partridge, who they had to let go.
They didn't though. They no. You have an intern for a reason.
They brought in Jesse Minter's dad.
Minter's dad was already on the staff. He was analyzing or
Yeah, he was
something.
an analyst. That's right.
I
So
mean that's what I don't. I mean I get because you don't see head coaches coming in if someone gets fired mid-season. You don't see they ain't pulling. Okay, say that we'll go. I'll use MSU example. Perfect example, honestly. Mel Tucker gets fired. They didn't call Jonathan Smith up and tell, hey man, fuck Oregon State. You're coming to Michigan State to coach the rest of the season.
right.
I'd say it's really honestly, I'm not worried about it like that. It's just kind of like, how is it any different, guys? Come on.
And you're right from that perspective, but my perspective is he was here 2 years ago, right? For 1 year.
No, he's here for 2 years.
He,
He was here for 2021 and 2020. He was here both our Big Ten championships.
I
So
was thinking he
he's
was just here.
no, he was under McDonald and Minter.
Okay.
He knows our defense under Minter. That's the fucking issue. I don't care if it was McDonald. I would be like, cool, dude. You don't know shit.
So how much does he know? How much information can he pass that isn't available on tape and from talking to other coaches? When I seen that Alabama hired a Michigan coach, when I just read that highline, I thought for sure it was going to be Chris Partridge, and I thought, fuck. But
But I
so
mean,
so much has changed from season to season. Um, I just don't see it as a big deal. I think it's very similar to our sign stealing thing. We're doing every little thing we can to make sure to gain any kind of, no matter how minuscule advantage that we can. But I think it's also equal onto the sign stealing thing, that the competitive advantage gained from that is absolutely minimal.
yeah, and I completely agree with that. It pisses me off more. I think it more makes me mad because it's Alabama. First off,
Right.
and two, it's just like I just don't get it. Like it, in a way, it contradicts the NCAA multiple times. But we've talked enough about the NCAA and went down a rabbit
Yeah.
hole with them today. It's more just irritating. I really like I said, I don't think it's gonna bring a big advantage to them, unless then that well I mean unless he has like tape or something like that, which
And he
with that
could,
we
but
did.
there's I'd like to think anyways, there's a little bit of integrity and honor left, and those guys are supposed to, there's crossable lines and there's uncrossable lines, and those guys are supposed to turn all that stuff in upon their dismissal, and maybe he's got something saved on a zip drive that he can share. But again, you know, as was confirmed during the sign stealing and stuff, all the coaches and stuff talk and share information anyways. I just don't see where it's going to be that big of a deal. But what I will say, it's very the NCAA is very contradictory because you know what we did or allegedly did is illegal, and this is perfectly fine. And that's like saying, okay, if you're going down 106, right? If you're going south, you can go 100, but if you're going north, you can only go 25.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
it's just a set of double standards. But again, I just don't. I just laughed when I read it. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. I'm concerned about playing Bama because it's Bama and it's Saban, and you give them 30 days, like we talked about, to get ready. But it doesn't raise my concern any more than it was. I
well,
don't
if
think it's a
anything,
big
it shows. I mean, if anything, like I said, I mean, it shows that Saban's worried too if he's going to be pulling in coaches. I mean,
right.
but in my opinion, that's more of a respect thing. Like, hey, he
Yeah,
thinks Michigan's on the level that we think Michigan's on. We're going to do whatever we can and to bring in and win the
and
football
that's
game.
a great point. Absolutely.
And
You know, I
that's completely
I
fine.
I think we're better at just about every position than ever, except for perhaps running back and quarterback. I think we're clearly better all the way around. Zinter gone hurts us bad, right? First team All American,
It
unanimously.
really, it really, really hurts because that right side is. I mean, that right tackle position's been our weak spot in the offensive line all year. And I mean, I know he didn't play right tackle, but Carson Barnhart, who was playing right tackle, has to come inside.
Right.
And now you got Trente Jones out there, which I mean, it hasn't been that horrible. That's been our weak spot all year on
It's been
on
a
that.
weak spot, and they know that, and they're going to attack it. Right, they're going to try to exploit that. So hopefully, Trente Jones, this extra 30 days of practice allows him to advance a little bit. But um, yeah, not a big deal.
No, and it's more just the thought process behind the NCAA that was more about. It's really not even about Bama. But on that note, we'll talk more about the Bama game. I think when is it? It's in 3 weeks. 2 weeks from Monday.
Yep.
Um, we'll probably cover it a little bit next week. I'm trying not to just blow through it as much and continue to talk about the same stuff every week. So maybe a little bit next week, but I think the bigger part will probably be that week before the game, that Saturday before the game, um, to be able to talk a lot about it and get into the depths and deep sides of the game. Um, but on that, we'll move on to bowl pick'ems to close out the show. We're gonna go through and do every bowl game, make our picks, um, and that'll be it for the pick'ems. Whoever comes out on top on this doesn't have to eat the fucking hot chip, and I'm not looking very promising. I mean, I'm down, I think, 11 games, 12 games, whatever. I need a big fucking bowl season, and I did zero research on any of these, on any of my picks. So we're about to see how this goes. I'm just throwing it out there. Usually, when I do research, it don't work. So let's just throw it to the wind. Um, but we'll get started, guys. Myrtle Beach Bowl. That is actually today, I believe. I think the first four games are actually today because I think so. The first game is Myrtle Beach Bowl. It is Georgia Southern versus Ohio. Um, I'm taking Ohio in this one. Um, just think a better team overall as a MAC team over a Georgia Southern's in the Sun Belt. So
Yep. Ohio.
I swear, if you intentionally pick everything I pick just so I can't like have a shot at this, I'm gonna be really hurt.
Why wouldn't I do
That
that?
that would be the most Ben Poor move ever. That would be the most Ben Poor move ever.
Oh, I'll just go
Imagine.
rogue and pick against you every pick and give myself every possibility to
I'm not
lose.
saying
Duh.
pick road, but I want you to pick for real.
I am picking
And
for real.
I know you will, maybe, but I'm just saying that would be the most Ben Poor move to ever do is just to pick everybody I picked on purpose. And I swear, I'm calling. I'm not eating a chip if you do that. Anyways, Celebration Bowl again today. Howard versus Florida A&M. I know nothing about either of these teams. I'm rolling with Florida. I mean, I don't even know where Howard's at. I know where Florida's at, so that's why I picked Florida A&M.
And I'm picking Florida A&M just because Howard is not. I think they've made the tournament a few times recently, but they're not an athletically known school, and any school that's got A&M on its back is just going to be better athletically, I think.
We'll see. Next one, New Orleans Bowl also today. Jacksonville State versus Louisiana. Um, Jacksonville State, Rich Rodriguez had a really good year with them this year in the first season of FBS Division One football. Who you got?
Jacksonville State.
Oh, God, first one. All right. Well, I'm rolling with the Raging Cajuns on this one. Louisiana. It's pretty much a home game. I mean, their home games are like 4 people, but maybe the Superdome will be filled up for this one. So run with Louisiana on this one. Next one, Cure Bowl, App State versus Miami of Ohio. Two teams that lost. Well, Miami of Ohio won the MAC. App State um, lost the Sun Belt. But I'm gonna roll with App State on this one.
App State.
I think App State has like 4 losses on the season.
They do. They've not had the year they typically have, but they did move to 1A this year, right? FBS or whatever.
App State's been in 1A. They've been in the Sun Belt for like 4 or 5. Michigan. Last time Michigan played at State, that was their first time in 1A.
Oh, that's right.
When it be like when they came back to the Big House in like 2013 or whatever. Um, Flashbacks. New Mexico Bowl. New Mexico State versus Fresno State. Who you running with on this one?
Fresno.
Right there with you on that one. This is not looking good for me. Fresno State. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, Fresno State's always a decent football team. I think this year I'm not 100% sure where they're at, but I know they're having another decent season for a Fresno State team who's usually a smaller, good school.
Right.
Hang on a second here. Boise State versus UCLA in the LA Bowl. I'm taking Boise State. I mean UCLA. I think Dante Moore can't play in this, can he?
Right. No.
Because he's in the portal.
And I would take UCLA 10 times out of 10 if he was playing, but the only reason I'm picking Boise is because he's out.
Yeah, that's my main reason. Is they're pretty much testing out a new quarterback. Independence Bowl, Texas Tech, Cal. Big 12 versus Pac 12. I'm gonna roll with Texas Tech here on this one.
Me too. You want? I'm not picking against you. Just
I
so
know
you have.
I'm not doing that because you're picking them. I'm just like this is not looking good for me at all. I know you're not. I'm just saying. Um, famous Toastery Bowl, which I don't remember what it used to be called, but these names are just getting fiatically weird. Um, Western Kentucky versus Old Dominion. Old DU, a decent. I think this has got to be like their first or second year in 1A, isn't it?
I think so.
But yeah, I got Western Kentucky rolling on that one.
Me too.
Next one, Frisco Bowl, UTSA versus Marshall. We are.
Yes, sir.
Damn.
I don't even know what UTSA stands for, so I can't even consider.
University of Texas San Antonio.
Oh yeah, that's not a football house, Marshall.
I was really hoping when I said we are, because I figured you're going to pick Marshall, that you would go Marshall, but you failed. You did not understand the assignment on that one. Next one, Boca Raton Bowl in Florida, USF, University of South Florida versus Syracuse. Running with the Bulls on this one, and USF.
Me too.
USF almost beat Bama this year, so
Right, and that's why I'm going with them. I haven't watched them play at all, but um,
that is the only
they've
game I
always
watched.
been traditionally, a pretty competitive school for the for as small as they are, and um, Syracuse is a basketball school, not a football school.
Yeah, yes, I agree. Oh, hang on, I messed that up. I definitely put Syracuse for you. Oops. Next one, the Gasparilla Bowl, or whatever it is. Georgia Tech, UCF, University of Central Florida. I'm rolling with the Black Knights on this one in UCF.
Me too.
Fuck me, dude. Um, just keep going. Birmingham Bowl, Troy versus Duke. Um,
Duke.
God dang it. Ugh! Anyways, Duke it is. I think they win, even though Riley Leonard isn't. I mean, Riley Leonard's been hurt, so I mean, they really haven't had him. That's kind of where they fell off this season, the way they did. But yeah, I think the Blue Devils win over Troy. I mean, Troy is 10-2, 11-2. Um, but wouldn't be surprised to see an opposite there. But Camellia Bowl, or however you say it, Arkansas State versus Northern Illinois. Um, NIU, the Huskies, I think win this one, and so
I'm going with Arkansas State.
that one I almost switched. Thank God I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about really either one of those teams. So next one, Armed Force Bowl, James Madison. Uh, Great season so far versus Air Force. I'm rolling with the Dukes. James Madison, I think, runs this one pretty easily.
So I would go with them, but their coach left to go coach Indiana. So I'm gonna go with Air Force. I'll probably regret that decision, but
No one likes the Air Force. Anyway, no, I'm messing with you. It's just a shot I gotta take. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Utah State versus Georgia State. This is really I think a coin flip game. But I'm gonna roll with Georgia State on this one.
me too.
I just need to copy and paste. I need to stop texting and typing these. Next one, 68 Ventures Bowl, which is down in Mobile. It's South Alabama versus Eastern Michigan. South Alabama, I'm rolling with all day. Cougs.
Yep.
Las Vegas Bowl. It's got a
Utes.
6 and. Can I talk?
Yeah, you can. I was just letting you know who I picked, so you didn't think I'm copying you.
I know you're not copying me. I'm messing with you. I gotta pull. What happened here? Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Okay. My notes and stuff all got messed up, so I just want to make sure I didn't turn my camera. Anyways, Northwestern versus Utah. Northwestern kind of a comeback team this year. No one thought they would even be close to here. But yeah, I'm still gonna roll with Utah too. That's who I'm rolling with. Hawaii Bowl, Coastal Carolina versus San Jose State. Who you got?
Coastal.
Yeah, that's where I'm running with too. I think San Jose State had a good season this year, but they are not going to be able to compete with Coastal. Quicken Lane Bowl, Detroit, Bowling Green versus Minnesota. Minnesota sitting at 5-7, or no? Yeah, 5-7 on the year. They got in because of academics, and they needed more bowl games. That's really why Minnesota got in. But I think Minnesota beats Bowling Green. I mean, Bowling Green, we've seen at the start of the year. I mean, it's a decent team, but I think Minnesota and PJ Fleck win it.
Agreed.
You say Green?
Agreed.
Oh,
Minnesota.
okay. I thought you said Green. I was like, oh, hell yeah. Um, Next one, First Responders Bowl, Texas State versus Rice. I know nothing about either of these teams, but I'm rolling with Rice because I
Rice.
like Rice. Military Bowl, which doesn't have any military teams in it. Tulane versus Virginia Tech. I think Tulane bounces back after the loss in the in their conference championship game and takes this one over Virginia Tech.
Tulane. Are we skipping the guaranteed rate bowl, the Kansas versus UNLV?
Shit, I must have not put that on here. Give me a second. I'll add. Hang on.
That's okay. We can pass it.
What did you say it was? The guarantee rate bowl?
Yep.
No, that's fine. I just needed to put it. I just needed. Who'd you say was UNLV versus Kansas?
Kansas versus UNLV. Yep. Chase
Okay.
Field, Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, that's perfect. Anyway, okay. Back to where we're at. Yeah, I must have just skipped that one. I must have looked over it when I was typing these up. Duke's Mayo Bowl, North Carolina versus West Virginia. North Carolina, I'm gonna roll with. I think Drake May's not playing though, for North Carolina, but I'm still
Tar
gonna
Heels.
roll with them. UNC Holiday Bowl, Louisville versus USC. Caleb Williams is out for USC. I'm changing my pick because I forgot that, and I'm gonna roll with Louisville.
Louisville.
Next one, Texas Bowl, Oklahoma State versus Texas A&M. I think the Pokes get it done. Oklahoma State wins that one.
I'm going with A&M.
Heck yeah. Fenway Bowl at Fenway Park, SMU versus Boston College. So pretty much a home game for Boston College. Who you got?
SMU.
Yeah, that's who I'm rolling with too. I think SMU wins that one fairly easily. Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium, Miami versus Rutgers. I want to choose for this, but I think Miami wins it.
Miami. Yep.
Pop Tart Bowl, North Carolina State versus Kansas State. K-State for me.
Yeah, K-State.
Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma versus Arizona. Starting to get these better bowl games. Arizona was a bad to start the year. Come back, had a good season. They play Oklahoma, but I think the Sooners are too much for them.
Oklahoma, man.
All right, Gator Bowl, Clemson versus Kentucky. I mean, this is a toss-up to me, but I'm running with the Tigers.
Yeah, me too.
Tony the Tiger Bowl. Jesus, these names are stupid. Notre Dame versus Oregon State. DJ Unga, I really like saying his name too. Ungalungale, however you say it, is not playing. I'm pretty sure he's in the transfer portal. I don't think Notre Dame's quarterback's playing either, is he?
No.
I didn't think so. So I mean, this is honestly a pretty should be honestly
Good
be
game.
yeah. But I'm gonna roll with Notre Dame,
Me too.
especially because Oregon State just lost their backup to that shitty school in East Lansing. So,
Right.
Liberty Bowl, Iowa State. You took Notre Dame, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to make double check. Liberty Bowl versus it's Iowa State versus Memphis. Iowa State for me.
Yep.
Music City Bowl, Maryland versus Auburn. Who you got? This is weird. This is again, I think another toss up.
It is. I'm gonna go with Auburn.
Okay, yeah. So I'm rolling with Maryland. This is one where I think just Auburn's hot and cold, and it's weird with them this season. But I
They
don't
are.
mind it. So the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, Toledo versus Wyoming. I'm gonna roll with Toledo on this one. Last time I rolled with them, they did not do me well, but that's what I'm gonna go with.
Toledo.
Relia Quest Bowl, Wisconsin versus LSU. LSU, Wisconsin's just not there yet. I think they will
Yeah,
be.
LSU's gonna roll them.
Um, yeah, I think so too. Another one I think is going to be an easy win is for this game is Citrus Bowl is Iowa versus Tennessee. I think Tennessee wins it.
Yep.
Kind of how everyone's beat Iowa this year like the same way. Now we get into New Year's Six bowls. Cotton. Well, hang on real quick. We'll do that guarantee rate bowl real quick. UNLV versus Kansas. I'm gonna run a UNLV on this one.
Me too.
I mean, they're 9-3, I think, on the year. 9-4. I don't know. So I know they had a good season and it helped out with our season schedule. Now on to the New Year's Six Bowl. First one, Ohio State versus Missouri. Ohio State starting new quarterback and have actually lost quite a bit all the way around on that team coming into this bowl game, and there's probably going to be more. I think Missouri wins it. It's
Yeah,
going to be it's tough.
it is. And like you said, that last I looked, and it's been a few days, Buckeyes had 16 transfers in the portal, and some of them were guys that haven't got any guy, but they got some pretty substantial guys who played some substantial minutes for them in the portal. So yeah, I'm going to go with Missouri too.
Missouri too. Okay. Um, Next one is the Peach Bowl. Penn State versus Ole Miss. Penn State's offense is just trash. I think Ole Miss honestly probably eats them alive.
I agree. Ole Miss.
As much as I hate to say it,
And James Franklin is just a big game choker. He just is.
dude, I don't get why. I don't get how he's still there. Honestly, he's like 3-16 versus Ohio State and Michigan in his career.
Yeah, but he wins 9 or 10 games every single year, and they're good with that.
I know, and the bad part is just, I mean, that's going to be, just to get off topic for a second, that's going to be the same thing that happens for a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches are going to get saved by this 12-team playoff because if you look at that, Penn State's in the playoff. We do 12 teams this year. Oh, I
Right.
made the playoffs this year. I
And
made the
got
playoffs this
zero
year. That's
chance
going
to
to
win
stay
it, but you're absolutely right. Hey, I made the playoff. What more do you want? You know,
Yeah, that's also the 12 teams
there's
going to save
at
a
least
lot of
half of
coaches.
the teams every year I feel like are going to have zero chance to win it because you got a 1 versus 12, and sure, every few years you might get an upset there, but it's hard to pull off three big upsets in a row. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's really close to it. But anyways, back on track.
All right, Orange Bowl. Florida State, Georgia. I mean, I don't even know what's going on in this game, who's going to play. I don't know how this game's going to go, but I think if it goes the way how I think it's going to go, which is players not playing, I think Georgia wins.
Yep.
Fiesta Bowl, Oregon versus Liberty. Um, I'm going to roll with Oregon on this one.
Quack quack.
Oh, dude, I think we have like two that's not the same.
Think we got 4.
This is not fun.
And half of those I picked against you just so I didn't have to hear you whine.
I told you I wouldn't have whined.
You started off this segment whining.
It was a joke, not a. Don't take it so hard. Anyways, Rose Bowl. um, Rose Bowl, Michigan, Alabama. I'm rolling. I mean, I think we both are probably Michigan on this one. I probably should have just put you as that, anyways. Sugar Bowl, Washington versus Texas.
I flip back and forth all the time. I think Washington is a little bit overrated, but I'm gonna go with Washington.
All right, I'm gonna roll with Hook'em Horns because I think it's gonna be us in Texas in the Natty, and that'll work out great because, well, other than the fact that it'll be a home game for Texas in the national championship game. But that finishes out our bowl pick'ems. I'm looking to see how many we are different because, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 5. We have 5 total that are different. So I'm not happy right now.
Get that chip.
No. The rule was that the person who won had to buy it and give it for the other person.
Oh, is that right?
So
Pull up that segment and show that to me.
Well, maybe don't change topics on. Maybe don't change topics on. Not topics. Maybe don't change our Facebook post around to make you look better, even though you weren't.
I have no
Uh,
idea what you're talking about.
yeah, okay. On the playoff predictions, you were 1 for 3, and I was 2 for 4, and I won that. We should use that towards pick'ems. I picked two of the playoff teams in their exact ranking. Anyways, but yeah, guys. So good show all in all. We will be back next Saturday. Sometime if not next Saturday, sometime next weekend. Hopefully Saturday to talk more about probably get into some hockey. I don't know. We'll figure out something to talk about in this dead period. Um, but Monday, we're 2 weeks away. We're 16 days away today. So we'll see y'all next week and go blue.
Go blue.